Hey everyone, it's Matt Lockaby. I'm the managing partner at Lockaby PLLC here in Lexington, Kentucky, and we're continuing our series on the mergers and acquisitions process geared toward buyers in M&A transactions. So you might recall from our prior videos that we're doing a 5-part series, one video each on each of the 5 steps: formulating, locating, investigating, negotiating, and finally integrating. And in this, we're going to talk about step 2 in that process, which is locating. So by this point in the process, you have already formulated your strategy for inorganic or acquisition related growth. You know exactly what you want and you have a plan for how to get there. Well, in this second step in locating, we're talking about how we actually go about finding deals, how we go about finding companies for sale or owners who are interested in selling their company. How do we find companies? How do we find these owners that are looking to sell or that are ready to sell? First, we can look at industry associations and trade groups, organizations like that, where you're going to find owners who are in the industry that you're looking in, who are operating companies that you might be interested in acquiring. Second, you can also talk to business brokers and M&A advisors. A lot of times they will have databases of owners that they know of that are looking to sell or might be interested in selling, but can take steps to help you find and source these targets. Now, be aware, working with an M&A advisor, with a business broker, selecting the right one for you and your organization is kind of an art unto itself, because there's a lot of ways where one advisor would not be a good fit for you and your organization, and another advisor would be a perfect fit for helping you and your organization find that target and work you through that the rest of the process. Stay tuned. We'll follow up with another video here in the near future that talks about just how to select an M&A advisor and what are the questions you're really going to be asking that person before you sign on the dotted line, so to speak. Next, there are a number of publicly available resources, like websites that will actually list businesses that are for sale. BizBuySell.com is one of them. Axial is another. And there are some other resources that are available out there in the open market, something like PitchBook, that can help you find certain companies in certain industries of a certain size, and can help you really narrow down your target search. Finally, there is reaching out to owners directly. And it's one of my favorite ways to do this. It's one of the ways that I help our clients who are looking to buy to do this, because it helps them source what are called proprietary deals, right? There are no brokers, there are no advisors. It's just one owner talking to another owner and figuring out if there is a strategic fit for the acquisition of this other company. And best of all, there are no advisor fees to pay or finder fees to pay as a result of closing a deal of this type. So how you're going to do this, look, sometimes it's just as simple as sending an email or picking up the phone and calling and saying, hey, I respect you. I respect what you've built. I admire what you've built. Have you ever thought of selling? All right, now you have found a couple of targets that you're interested in, and you want to dive a little bit deeper into finding out if they're really the right opportunity for you. What's next? Well, I don't want to go too far into this investigating process, but there are some things that you can do before you sign a letter of intent, right? That formal document that sets forth the framework for a deal that can really help you decide if this target is the right fit. And what you're going to do is, after you've identified these targets, first, you're going to get an NDA, right? A non-disclosure agreement. You want the process to be confidential, both on your end and certainly on this target's or this prospective seller's end. But after that, there's a couple of things that you can really gather. There's some materials that you can gather that can get you to that LOI. And let's talk about those real quick. First is, you want the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years of financial reports, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and cash flow statements. You also want the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years of tax returns. These things are going to help you set or at least preliminarily put a value on the company. There's some other information and some other data that you're going to use to arrive at a range of values that you might be willing to pay for this particular company. But this will springboard you into everything else that happens later on, especially after the LOI. Now, in addition to these financial reports and tax returns, there might be other documents and other materials that are relevant that help you assess the target's market position, that will help you assess the cultural fit with your organization. And a lot of this is really deal dependent and company by company dependent, and frankly, dependent on the relationship that you might have with the owner of the selling entity or of the target. But at a minimum, these financial materials are going to be your window into this company at this early stage of the locating process. So what do we have next? We've found several targets. We've gotten some preliminary information and materials, some financial information, maybe some other materials that are dependent upon the deal itself or on the target itself. We're then going to get to our LOI or our letter of intent, which is binding in some respects. Don't let anyone tell you that it's never binding. Some aspects of the LOI should be binding, absolutely. But we're going to arrive at a value, we're going to prepare that LOI, and then we're going to get to the investigating stage. And that is the subject for our next video. So I hope you'll tune in next time. If you've liked this one, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.